Hi YouTube. I just decided I would check in with you guys real quick. I am on my lunch break. A lot of times I go to the lounge so I can see the rest of the teachers on my team and some of the other grades that are in there. But today I didn't because one of my team members went and is getting us lunch. So we're going to be eating a little bit later, probably while our kids are in recess. So I am just staying in my room doing a little bit of work. So what I was talking about in one of my first videos about being flexible, today has been one of those days that I needed to be flexible. Yesterday, we had our RTI meetings. I'm not sure if your district does that, but it just means response to intervention. So we go and we look at our benchmark testing and progress monitoring testing. And our school system uses STAR 360, which is from Renaissance Learning, and it's just has reading and math test, and it kind of just ranks the kids, like if they're on level, above level, and we use that as one of the forms of assessment. So we go over those scores. I haven't did progress monitoring testing since February, and this month I wasn't going to test because we have state testing soon, and I just figured I would just skip out because we're only required to do it 3 times a year. Once in the first of the year, then in the middle, and then like right towards the end of the year. But we've been usually going about once a month just to see if they're, showing growth. Plus those kiddos that are low, it helps get more data points just so we can kind of track their progress. So anyways, we had our meeting and some of my kids did not as well as I was hoping, which they, during our winter benchmark, which the benchmark is the one that actually like really counts, they did better. So I was just like, oh, I guess I'm going to. So last minute this morning, I decided to take them to the computer lab, have them retest. So I did look at their scores a little bit ago, and I'm so happy that all of them, there was like 9 that were not showing growth that actually went down. And I knew that some of those kids, I only have about 2 that I knew their scores would be low. The rest of those, I knew these should be better. So I had them retest, and everyone showed growth on this time. So that makes me very happy. So I just checked those scores. Then we came back to class, started getting to work. It is spring picture day, so last minute. It's never scheduled. You just kind of, when they call you, you go. So we had to, scramble, get everyone in alphabetical order, go take our pictures, come back in. It's kind of hard to get everyone settled back down. So it takes a little bit of work. So, today was just one of those days you have to be flexible because last minute, we decided to do testing, then pictures. And so our schedule was rearranged. We've had more students needing to be redirected because of like coming in and leaving and all of that. So it's definitely been one of those days that I've needed to be flexible. My classroom is a hot mess right now. In 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I had a student come in for wanting to get their jacket for a recess. So I was thinking, you're probably wondering why I am wearing camo because most teachers dress up and they don't wear camo to school. But we are doing a just dress up week just for the teachers because we are having a state testing boot camp this week because our state testing starts next week just for our 3rd and 4th graders, and then for 5th grade, the grade I teach in, is going to be the week after. So on Monday we said we're all business and we wore ties. Tuesday, like we wore orange, like aren't you glad your teacher prepared you? Wednesday was, our kids are shining bright, and we wore bright colors. And then today is we're combat ready, so we wore camo. And then tomorrow it is testing is no sweat, so we actually get to wear like workout gear. So I'm really excited about tomorrow. But anyways, I did find this cute, I'll try to show you, camo dress. Sorry, I don't know how to show you right. Anyway, so it's a cute little camo dress that I just wore with some tights, and then I just wore my boots. So that way I was still like wearing camo but dressed up. I almost put on like hunting gear, but then I found this and decided to wear this instead. So anyways, right before I left the video, because the kid came in, I was talking about my room being a hot mess. I'm sure you guys know that your rooms just throughout the day get so messy. It doesn't matter how organized you are, but today has been one of those days that's way messier than usual because it's just been flexible and just in and out, and things were changing. So my desk is a mess, my room is a mess, there's stuff all over the floor, which drives me crazy. I want my room clean and like organized, and I try to like keep stuff in nice piles throughout the day, but today is just not one of those days. and I will admit it, and I will show you my hot mess. Here is my desk. There is my back table, and it just has all kinds of stuff all over it. Student's desk with things all over. My floor, food, everything all over. So we have a lot of cleaning to do when we come in from recess, because we have about 40 minutes or so, maybe less, I'm not sure, I don't remember. Anyways, we have some time after recess, and that's usually when we do a read aloud, we clean up, we get stacked and packed, and then we switch classes. So that's when my homeroom class will go to math and science, and then I'll get those other students in. So hopefully my kids have been pretty well behaved, even though we've been redirected a lot and the schedule's been changed. But hopefully my afternoon class, because I said in one of my videos they've been the more rowdy class, so I'm hoping they come in today good. So I will see you guys here in a little bit. Hi YouTube. I haven't really had a chance to do any recording since last week. Every time I've tried, something that has happened. So today it is on my first break. I'm on lunch, and so I figured I would just check in with you. We have testing starting next Monday. So this week is just a lot of reviewing and prep work. So today we just worked on some informational writing. We did a test prep vocabulary bingo. We've just kind of reviewed author's purpose. We did some vocabulary context clues work, and just a bunch of different reading strategies and things like that. Because like I said, I teach reading and English and social studies, but this year they are not testing on social studies. So we're just really focusing a lot on the reading and the writing portions of the test. Yesterday I did have my last observation conference with my principal, and that went well. So in my district I have to be recorded, or not recorded, sorry. I have to have 4 recorded observations a year since I am a new teacher, and that has to happen for the first 3 years that I'm working in the district. After that, then you only have to have 2 observations through the year. So the first half of the year, like before Christmas, I have to be observed twice. And then after Christmas, I have to be observed twice, which I have all of my 4 done. And so I met with her about my last observation, and we just did the final evaluation. She went over my scores, and thankfully my administration, she's very positive and is always looking for the things that you are doing right. So all of my scores have been, really good, I think, for a first-year teacher. And she's been just encouraging, and that helps. And we just talked about what I've learned for the year, things that I might change or do next year now that I've, almost taught a whole year, and I've learned some things. So it was just nice to get all the observations out of the way and just know that I have the rest of the year. The first observation at my school was scheduled. So she just sent me a month and just told me to pick dates, and then we just set up a time. The other 3 were not scheduled, and she just kind of comes in whenever she has free time. And so you never know when it's going to be, what month, what day, what time, at all. So you're just, she just walks in. And because she wants to not have like a dog and pony show, she just wants to see what you're doing every day in your classroom. So it's been kind of nice. The 3 other times that she has just done like a pop-in type of visit, and those have all went well, thankfully. Because I know the ones that are scheduled, you are, obviously super prepared because for sure you're being observed. But I try to always be prepared. But, you have your good and bad days. But thankfully those other 3 surprise observations went great. So I was just glad to just sign it and just know that my first year is done. And just looking forward to next year. Next year, our team is changing a little bit. We have a teacher retiring, and we might be dropping down where we're required to teach all subjects because we just don't have enough kids enrolled in 5th grade next year for us to like just teach only certain subjects. So that's going to be new and things that I'm looking forward to and nervous about. But anyway, so I had my observation. We're just doing test like kind of prep and just reviewing different standards that the kids might have struggled with or that I just feel they need extra help with this week. And I have tutoring after school today. And I might not be able to check in at my next planning because I am supposed to have the IEP meeting, but we'll see, if that happens. Sometimes parents have to reschedule, so you just never really know until you go to it. But today, so far, the kids have been pretty good. I think they're kind of taking it a little bit seriously this week because they really want to make sure that they have the information they need for testing, and so that's been nice. After lunch, like I said, we have a little bit of time where we do a read aloud. My class voted. I gave them like 6 books yesterday, like The Fish in the Tree, the A Tale Dark and Grim, Rules, something, maybe the Westing Game or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, so I gave them options. I had them kind of read the back, read information about it, and then just take a vote on what they would like. So it was between A Fish in a Tree and then A Tale Dark and Grim. And then a couple people I said, did you even, read either one of these? And some people said no. So I went ahead and read information about them both and then had the last few kids that didn't get to vote do their voting, and the A Tale Dark and Grim won. And we read just a little bit of it yesterday, and the kids were really excited. So I think this is going to be one that they are into. I've never read it before, but I have heard good things. So if you've read it before, let me know things that maybe you did with your class and how they enjoyed it in the comments down below. Because a lot of times with the read aloud, I just read it every day, kind of ask, stop and ask questions and things like that. But we don't do a lot of activities because it's not our main focus. But since it is coming to the end of the year, I was going to use my read aloud and do some work with it. Especially, I've heard a lot of good things about this book. So just let me know what you've done and how your class enjoyed it. And then I'll let you know, as I keep recording videos, how my class did. So after we do our read aloud, we take a bathroom break and then we switch classes, and that's when my afternoon class comes in. They've been the class struggling with behavior. They're just very chatty and off task, and it doesn't really matter how often I've moved their seats or kind of what incentives. We just have someone that kind of tries to push the limits every day, which tries to get someone else to push the limits. So we've been really working. I've really been trying to reinforce, procedures and expectations with that class just to kind of get them back on board, because originally in the beginning of the year, they were the class that I had no problems with. We finished our work. We had more free time. They had a lot more options, like working with partners and things like that, because they could handle it. But here lately, they just had to work by themselves. And they kind of know this week we have a lot of fun activities planned for test prepping. But if they can't handle it, then we'll just have to go to just like reading comprehension passages and like worksheet type of testing, or we can, do our reviews with like Jeopardy games or things like that. So I'm hoping that they come in good and their behavior is spot on today. That's what I'm hoping for. My fingers are crossed that I don't have any problems. Yesterday they did fairly well. It was one of their better days in a while, but we did have like 5 students that were absent, so that always makes a difference when you have a class of 29. So I will check back in with you guys here in a little bit. I will do a classroom tour at some point. I started doing one the other day, and it just wasn't working out. I had my own personal children in here, and they were just kind of being rambunctious, and so it made it a little difficult to video without having them kind of in the way. So hopefully soon that will be coming to you guys, and I will check back in later. Thank you. Hi everybody. All right, so I am on my last break of the day, which is right at the very end of the day when my kids go to specials, which today they are at PE. So at the very end of the day, they are gone. That's when I have my planning time. They come back with about 10 minutes left in the day, and that's when we get ready for dismissal. They get packed and cleaned up and stacked before specials. So sometimes when we get back, we will watch like a CNN student news, or we will do some of our read aloud. We will have a class meeting, or just depending on behavior, if they come in just like really rowdy from special, sometimes they just have to like sit there and, be quiet. So it kind of varies every day on if there's something I need to talk about or something last minute that the office gave me that I need to pass out. So during my plan time, I usually kind of plan it out day by day, or like at the beginning of the week, I'll say like, okay, I know I have a meeting during plan on this day or that day. Some days I work on grading, other days I might work on organizing something, or I might be looking up resources. Our plan time is about 45 minutes. So I have about 10 minutes left. So I thought I had a meeting, so I rushed to the conference room, and my meeting is not till after school. So I'm not even going to get to stay at my meeting very long. I had to find someone to cover like my car duty, and then after school I'll have to go to that meeting, and then I can only stay for like 20 minutes, and I have tutoring after school. So I'll have to go back to my class. So I'll just have to get my part of the meeting out of the way, and then do what I need to do. So I have this huge stack of fabulous papers that I need to just sort through and make sure it's like my homeroom class and my afternoon class, and they're in the right places they need to be. And then start grading some of them. Some of them I've already just did I already did a check through, and it's something that we're going to talk about together in class, and others need to go in the grade book. So I just want to make sure that they're like sorted and ready to go. And then I started working on some notes just on things that I need to cover and do this week. I've kind of been doing my lesson plans day by day this week, depending on what topics were covered, or if I feel like there's something else that they really need to work on, or if one day we talked about it and maybe, we talked about author's purpose one day and it just seems like they really need extra work, then I will look for some, different activities for the next day. Like figurative language, some of them are still really struggling with that. Some of them have it down really amazing, and others definitely need more work. So it's kind of been a day by day. I already have like the whole week planned out. Like I'm going to do this review game or a Jeopardy game, or they're going to be focusing on this kind of reading comprehension passage using this kind of strategy. One day we're going to talk about different text structures or features. But then each day, if we weren't able to get to something because we needed to talk about it more, I'll kind of change it up. So at the end of the day, I kind of sit down with a spiral and just kind of jot down some notes that might be changing in my normal lesson plan book. Because this week is not a normal week. We're not following the normal curriculum. It's just been test prep and review, because we just have a few more days, and then our fifth graders are going to be doing their state testing next week, and we will be testing almost every day next week. So we have still a lot to cover and a lot to do. I was saying in the first part of the video that I hope that my afternoon class came in and they were, well behaved. So they came in, they were pretty good. But when every other day when they come in, we have about half of the class, well, not really half, but we have a large number that they are in our gifted and talented program. And so during that time, we don't have as many kids, so it's usually a lot quieter. And we can't really move on and do too many new activities or new topics because we don't want the other class to have to catch up. So we usually spend that time doing our, daily, we do mountain language. So they do that when they come in, and then we go over it. And then a lot of times if they're at the Gifted and Talented program, we will just do some silent reading time, because we only have like maybe 15 minutes until the rest of the class comes in. So when the rest of the class came in, they all did pretty good. We worked on a test prep vocabulary bingo, and they were all really engaged and really into it. And there were some words that they, weren't familiar with. And we talked about how some of these words might not be on the test because some of the words may apply more to, a different state type of test. But these still words that they needed to know and be familiar with because of how, they word the questions, and sometimes they're a little tricky. And so we worked on that, and overall it was, a pretty good afternoon. They just had a few moments where they were silly, but a lot better than they have been, because we've had some rough days. I guess my morning class was pretty crazy for my switch teacher. which they had been doing pretty good in the afternoons, but today was just not one of those days. So we'll see how their behavior was when they're in specials. We were having a lot of problems with them not listening to specials and just acting wild. So I just started an incentive every day that they get a good report in specials. They just get extra 5 minutes of recess. And so we just do that every day. And then at the end of the week on Friday, if maybe they have 20 minutes saved up, we might take an extra recess, or we might save it till Monday and do it sometime during the day on Monday or right after recess. It kind of just depends. Today they weren't able to go out because I didn't want them outside during state testing and being loud and interrupting the other kids that needed to focus. And several weeks ago, we were able to have an inside recess day, and we started a movie. And so today they asked if they could cash in their, outside recess minutes for, good behavior and specials to finish the movie. So I looked, and we only had about 28 minutes left of the movie. So I went ahead and let them cash those in. So in the morning class, we did have just about a 30-minute free break. And so now they're working towards saving up for maybe a extra recess on Friday. So right now they have 5 minutes from yesterday because they got a good report. So we'll see how they do in PE today. And we started our read aloud. I talked about the Tell Dark and Grim, I believe is what it's called. Anyways, and so I read a little bit more of that, and they're just really enjoying it. And my afternoon class, they actually have a read aloud after lunch with their morning teacher. They're in their homeroom. So I seemed like the book that everyone was really enjoying. So I just decided to ask my afternoon class if they'd like me to read it, and find a way to squeeze an extra read aloud in for that class. And I think we'll be able to. It just probably take us a lot longer to read it than it does in my morning class. So they started it. They seemed really into it. So I'm kind of excited. It's so nice when you're reading and they're just like, no, read more, don't stop. It's exciting, and I really enjoy it. So I have just a couple more minutes left, so I'm going to finish my notes, and then I'm going to go ahead and start sorting these papers, and then I will have to get my kids from special. So I will try to check back in at the end of the day. If not, maybe tomorrow, but I'll look back soon. Thanks. Hey everybody, it is Wednesday, April 5th. I haven't had a chance to check in with you guys today at all because I have just been busy. This morning we had our PLC meeting, so we just got with our 5th grade team and we just discussed student data and some things that are going on. And during lunch I had some kiddos in for lunch bunch. I think I had about 6 kids that cashed in and wanted to come in and hang out. So I had them in for lunch and recess. So I didn't have my actual first break of the day. Right now, my kids are in specials. I was hoping I was going to be able to record a little bit longer because I had some things that I wanted to talk about, but now I have about 10 minutes of my day left. And I trying to decide what I want to talk about. So today we just went to the computer lab. We did some reading comprehension and just some language arts kind of games. And then I let them have a little bit of free time to pick if they wanted to do math or science or language arts or reading. And that way they could review some of the other skills that they are going to be tested on next week. We still have just Thursday and Friday to do some test review before we do our state testing next week. And then we just came back in the room. We just did a scoot activity that just had some different, passages and questions that would be like the state test. And just looked into some of the resources that are available that they can look at with their parents this weekend. So it's kind of just been a really busy day. The morning went well. My kids were great, especially during the scoot activity. I was really worried because it was where they had to read passages and answer questions. So it takes a little bit longer than just like a quick, scoot. And some read faster and slower than others. So I was worried, but they were actually really good. They were quiet during it and everyone just transitioned. So I was really proud of them. The afternoon class, they came in a little rowdy because I get my afternoon class shortly after recess. And there are a bunch of, interesting things happen at recess, especially today. And some days are better than others, but today was one of those days everyone came in. I even had my afternoon class come in before we switched telling me, and stuff we had to address. So they came in, pretty rowdy, just still like, oh my God, this happened, and wanting to talk about it. So we just talked about those behaviors, some things that might happen, and just how, it's just not cool. And because we're just, the fifth grade that we have this year is just kind of a crazy group. I mean, they're great, great kids. We have tons of great, great kids. And even the kids that are, you know, um, not making the best choices, most of those kids are still awesome kids. They're just maturing and hormones, and they're learning things from older peers and brothers and sisters and each other that other students might know more than they know, and so it just becomes interesting. So I was gonna talk. I was hoping I'd be able to record longer because the other day I was watching a video by Mr. Thain, I believe. I might be saying that wrong. Sorry if I am, Mr. Thain. Forgive me. Try to tell me how to actually pronounce it. It's Thain. So if you want to check out his channel, definitely check it out. I'm really enjoying. He's a kindergarten teacher, and I just love that because you don't really see a lot of male teachers teaching younger, especially, early childhood. So I'm just really impressed with what I've seen on his channel so far. But he talked in two different videos. He talked about one, I think was called something about teaching that they don't tell you about. So like in school, they don't tell you about the stress and the depression and just how much work it is. And, he gave some tips about like leaving work at work and home at home, and trying to separate that and how hard it is and just the anxiety you feel. And so I was going to talk to you about that because I totally agree. In one of my first videos, I said a tip would be to, set boundaries. I obviously take work home sometimes, and I, tell my husband about it, or even talk to my kids because I have two older children. Well, I have four, but I have two older children that are in 7th and 9th grade. So I kind of get tips from them, like what would they like a teacher to do, or how do they think it should be handled. And I talk to my husband because sometimes I'm just stressed and I need to kind of vent or just share what's going on. And but I try not to let it come home. I try not to be like cranky with my kids or cranky with my spouse or just let it consume me all night. But sometimes it does. So you do need to set those boundaries. And if you are a new teacher or if you're a student teaching right now and you're watching this video or his channel or any other channel, I mean, I think you are gonna see it. These channels let teachers like kind of have a platform to share real ideas, real stories, and it's real. I think one of the biggest things I've learned this year is you do have that stress, but I think I usually try to remain positive, so I'm able to kind of put that wall and like let it stay at school and not let it like eat at me at home. I mean, I do research and things like that and ask friends when I'm at home trying to, figure out how to handle a situation, but I do know how to kind of set that boundary. But I mean, it is stressful. And when you're at school, it's stressful. It's really hard not to like go in the lounge at the middle of your day and just be like, want to pull my hair out, a rough day type thing. But, so that's real. I mean, it's definitely real. There's real stress. There's real anxiety. I mean, you might even get depressed because some of these kids that you're dealing with have such baggage and home life situations that just break your heart. And, you have that weighing on you as well, not even just academic things that are going on with your students, things that are just going on in general in your school. So that is definitely real. But he had another video, trying to think what was it called? That one was about, what they don't tell you. Another one, I think he just said something like, I need your help, or I need advice, or something along those lines. And he was talking about a student that he just wasn't sure what to do with. And you have some of those students. I mean, you might get lucky where one year you don't, but I have a couple students that I just don't know what to do with. Same as him. And I've tried a lot of things. I do have supportive administration. I do have a supportive team. A lot of the parents have been supportive, but at the same time, if those children don't want to change, it doesn't matter. Like I have one student, no matter what I do, it doesn't matter if he's suspended, it doesn't matter if he has in-house, it doesn't matter if he has classroom consequences, has to miss recess, has to write, behavior expectations or something like that. No matter the consequence, he doesn't care what he's losing. He doesn't care what he can gain from being good. And he just is one of those challenging students, mostly with cooperating with others and, getting along with his classmates. And he kind of has a anger problem, so he'll get upset. And he might, push things or throw things or hit people. And if he is upset or something, he'll shut down and not want to work. So that is some of, that he is one of my challenging students. I've tried so many things, individual behavior plans, like I said, suspension, in-house, and not much has really changed. It's actually seemed to gotten worse, from the beginning of the year till now. And I have a couple other students, but he's probably the more severe case. But really, our fifth grade right now, the whole fifth grade in a whole, not really the whole, because it's not everyone, but a big majority is we're kind of just like, what do we do with these kids? Because the things that they're talking about or the things that they're saying to each other or the things that they're doing, we had a lot of girl drama in the beginning, and it was just every day. It didn't matter how I addressed it. Didn't matter if I pulled them out in the hall and did some counseling and did a lot of mediation. It didn't matter if I tried, because some of it wasn't really a big deal. Sometimes I tried to step away, and if they brought it to my attention, I was just like, I'm not dealing with it. You guys need to handle this situation, because it seemed like if I mediated, I was putting fuel to the fire. It was kind of like, oh, we're getting attention, so they were constantly wanting to get me involved. So we've had girl drama, and then we've had a lot of boy drama or fights and things. And then here lately, it's just, I guess, as our hormones kick in, we're having a lot of like boyfriend and girlfriend and inappropriate words and not really behaviors, but just, a little bit, just things that are not school appropriate or even really age appropriate. These kids are like 10, 11. They shouldn't be saying, they shouldn't even know these things, but unfortunately, social media, older peers, the internet is around, so they know a lot more than I knew, when I was in fifth grade for sure. And even my son in ninth grade, he's like, wow, they know more than my, probably even some of the ninth graders. So it's just, it's an interesting situation, and we're not really sure what to do with a lot of them. So the situation that happened today at recess is one of those situations that I had to go to my team teacher and just, what should I do? And I had to talk with the recess people, and I'm still kind of like, do I call mom? Because some parents are more supportive and how it will be handled at home. In this situation, I'm not sure. So it's like, would it even make a difference? How is the other students' parents going to feel? Do I need to contact them? Give me just a second, guys, and I'll check back in. I just noticed the time. I need to get my kids in like a minute. Hey, everybody. So I left the video not yesterday. Sorry, it's late. I'm tired. I left the video today on my planning period, and I was talking about a situation that I was dealing with in my classroom. But I had to leave real quick because it was time to pick up my kids. I didn't have a chance to not plan. There you go. My brain is just tired. I didn't have a chance to do a video after school. I had to do like my car duty, and then I went back to my classroom and just packed up some things. And I was just ready to go. I needed to get home and had a few things to take care of. Anyways, but it was just, some days you want to leave sooner than others, and dealing with that situation, I was kind of like, oh, I just need to get out of here. And so I came home, obviously I was talking in part of the video about not bringing work home, but that was one of those days that I was kind of like, oh my gosh, you will not believe what happened. And not that it was stressing me major, but just something I needed to tell my husband. When we were actually talking about the story, and I was like, I'm not sure if I should call parents, or what, because like I said, it happened at recess. The kids bring in everything from recess and, have to tell me. And then it was one of those well, now that I was aware of the situation, what do I do as a classroom teacher? And not even just the specific situation I'm talking about, just in general, that more things like this are coming up. So it was since this is kind of a reoccurring type of behavior, not really with this particular student, but just in general, I think something needs to be addressed. And especially since I was, told about the situation, I felt like I had to step in. So when the students told me immediately, I was just like, wow. They thanks for letting me know. This situation will be taken care of. Then, other people heard and they were just like, no, 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 but this and that. And I'm like, no, I've heard the situation. I'm only concerned with the main person that it involves. And they might, have to talk with the principal about it. That's when they were like, no, 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 it was taken care of at recess. And I said, what do you mean it was taken care of? Like, what happened? And they just said, kind of let me know. And I said, okay, well, I'm still going to talk with them. I'm still going to talk with our principal and let her know. I talked to my switch teacher, like, what would you do? We were kind of coming up with some logical consequences, if you can even have one for this kind of behavior. And basically, a student made an inappropriate comment to another student. And I would say highly inappropriate, especially for fifth grade. And so it was one of those, I'm not sure what to do. So we were like, logical consequence, maybe we should have that student call their parent and let them and tell them what they said. But then we thought, well, what if the student refuses? Because I can't force them, to call their parent. And then we were wondering how the parent would respond, because it's a parent that we're not really familiar with because they're new to our school. And I wasn't sure. So I was talking to my husband about it. And then we got an email about recess from the recess teachers, like, hey, can you talk to your students about this? They've been, roughhousing, and that's turned into fights. So they just kind of talked to us about about them. Then the boys and the girls, everyone's just asking each other out, and it's becoming like an obsession. Like, they'll ask one girl out. Well, that girl says no. Then they ask the next girl out. The next girl. The next boy, the next girl asks the next boy out. The next boy out. And they're literally asking, the entire grade out. I've addressed it a million times. For one, I'm like, you're too young to date. Another, I'm like, for one, if you asked him out and 2 seconds later you ask him out, then 2 seconds later you ask him out, I'm like, I wouldn't feel very special if I was that boy. And then I probably wouldn't want to date you because you're asking everybody out. And so they just, said, the asking each other out is kind of getting out of control. Let your students know that if this becomes, another issue, they will have to sit out for recess. And I think they said the next day. And that kind of just, and then inappropriate comments were being made or something. I wasn't really sure if they knew the exact inappropriate comment, that was made, because all the kids are saying is, hey, they took care of it. The recess people took care of it. That doesn't necessarily mean they knew the full story or the one I was told. So I emailed back. It was attached to, everybody on my team, because it's the whole fifth grade in general, not just my class or anything. And it was also, usually if we are having a situation like that, they'll attach the principal on the email. So I made sure to reply all so everyone knew the situation. And I just was like, hey, this is what I was told was said. It's, highly inappropriate. I'm not sure how to handle this as the classroom teacher. I said, do I let it go and let it be taken care of by the recess teachers, or do I need to contact parents on both sides? I told them about, my switch teacher and I had talked about logical consequences, and I just said I didn't really want to move forward without talking to them and with our administration, because I just wasn't sure. I didn't want to call the parents if they've already been called, or, anything like that. So I just wanted to check in. I also, I said, my worry, especially as a classroom teacher, is now that I was known of the situation, well, really not even just the classroom teacher, just in general, because I told you our fifth grade is just starting to kind of get crazy. That if this wasn't addressed and it was kind of like, okay, don't do it again, that it's just going to continue. So I felt like maybe something needed to happen. So I kind of put that in the email and then I just said, this is new territory for me. For one, I am new to fifth grade. I have two older children, but this behavior has never happened with them or, within their classes that I've, been aware of. So, total new territory. So I just asked, I'm really not sure what the best way to approach this situation is, please give me feedback. And, I just let them know I will inform my students in the morning about the first email, just about the behaviors and things. So it's still one of those, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. And even if there is consequences or something happens with those students, that the behaviors are going to continue. And it's just those behaviors that I told you. Mr. Thain, again, if I'm saying it wrong, I'm so sorry. It's like, what do you do? I'm just mind blown at some of the behaviors I've had to deal with as a first year teacher. And like at school, they always, it's kind of funny because it's like, oh, if you teach them your procedures and you teach them your expectations and you have good classroom management and, you do this and you do that, like things will run smoothly. So I do that. I do this. I do everything they say. I'm following a book. Like, I've got this down. I know what I'm doing. None of the behaviors that are happening, okay, not really none, because some are happening that I can, fix and work towards, changing, especially just like maybe, practicing, modeling procedures, that kind of thing. But a lot of the behaviors, there is no book. Literally, no book. I have no clue what to do. Like I said, the girl drama or the inappropriate things or just those students that are so defiant that no matter what, they don't want to listen. And it makes it so hard. And so I have some of those behaviors right now. I'm just like, what do I do? What can I do to motivate them? What can I do to make it change? I am tired of addressing it and nothing getting done. Something's getting done, but then it's not serious enough, apparently, to make them change. So I feel ya, Mr. Thain, and all your teachers out there who I'm sure at least once a week, maybe once a day, that you're sitting there thinking and watching a particular thing happen and you're wondering, how in the heck am I going to handle this? So that's my current situation. So it was like when I watched his video, I was kind of like, I totally relate because this is my life right now, literally my life, to a T. I'm in 5th grade and he's at kindergarten, so we're kind of total different ends of the spectrum, and like grade wise, but we're both dealing with, just naughty behaviors. And so if you have any ideas, help me out, save me and save him, give us both a shout out and tell us what to do, because I will take any advice I can get. I'm happy to share more with you, like what I'm doing and what I've tried. But really, if you have an idea, I am totally happy to hear it. So that was my day. After I'm telling you, like, my day was amazing. I was in a good mood, which I was still in a good mood. Don't get me wrong, but it was just one of those, like, a situation hits you and it kind of changes up your day because my kids came in rowdy, and then you're like constantly thinking, like, how do I address this? What do I say? Like, so, we'll see how the situation is handled tomorrow. I'll talk to my class. First thing we'll kind of have a class meeting just about the email, and I don't know. Hopefully something I can say will get to them, and they'll just stop. This is part of why I was worried about 5th grade. Every single interview that I got was 5th grade. 5th grade was the grade I said I did not want to teach. I was thinking, I did my full internship. If you watch one of my other videos coming soon, it may be before this video or after. I'm not sure when it'll get posted, but it's about my student teaching experience. So my largest internship was for 2nd grade. And that kind of felt like my dream grade. Like, this is the grade I want to do. Not too early, not too old. 5th grade kind of had me scared. I'm not really sure why, but it just did. It was just like, I don't want to do 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. No, because I'm certified 1st through 8th. And got an interview. Hey, we'd like to interview you for your 5th grade position. Hey, we'd like to interview you for a 5th grade position. Hey, we'd like to have you come in for an interview for a 5th grade position. Okay, so part of me, I'm like, really? 5th grade? Why? And then I start thinking, where are all these 5th grade teachers going? Like, is there a reason? Like, should I be scared? Because there should not be this many 5th grade positions open. So, of course, I was willing to take any job I could get because there was, budget cuts like crazy within my state. They were cutting back teachers. So, I mean, if I was getting a job, like I'm totally all for it. So I need to get a drink. So I went in for the interview. During my interview, they asked me like, what's your fear about fifth grade? I told them I was kind of looking more towards the younger grades. I said fifth grade. I really wasn't sure. Part of my worry was that they go to middle school, and I won't like I'll build the relationship with them and then they leave. Versus if I had second grade, I would get to see them every year, for a couple years and just see how they're growing and talk to their teachers and just kind of keep up. Versus then like in our district, at least when they leave fifth grade, they are into a whole new school. Um, so I said that, and I that was really my biggest concern. I mean, I was just worried that, I mean, older kids, obviously, so it's just a different, they're a little bit more defiant. A lot of times in the younger grades, they really are looking to please you more often than not, I think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but in all my experiences, and that's been the case. But so I kind of talked to them about that. But it just was so funny that every single grade, was fifth grade, fifth grade, fifth grade. Anyway, so I got fifth grade, and this year I'm just like, oh my gosh. Half of the things I'm dealing with, I didn't expect to be dealing with. I mean, I knew fifth grade, yeah, they're mature and they're growing and, they're going through puberty, but I didn't expect these kids to like know these things. And especially in the area that I'm in, I am in a really good school district, a really good area. It's not a very diverse school. It does not have a lot. It's not a Title One. It does not have a lot of lower poverty students. I mean, we do obviously. We have some. We have a variety of socioeconomic patterns in our school, but it's just I've noticed in certain schools you see more behaviors than in others. So especially from this area, I was honestly really surprised at the behaviors. And honestly, some of the parents this year are very surprised because we have students that have never been in trouble, have literally been model students. But this year, the things they're doing is just kind of blowing their parents' mind. They're like, I don't even know what to do with them. And I'm like, I don't either because I don't know what to do with them. And it's funny as a parent because I have a fifth grader right now. He does go to the school I teach at. He's not in my classroom at all. He's in the other two fifth grade teachers' classes. But I don't deal with these behaviors from him. He doesn't even know half of what's going on. He is a younger one. His birthday is like when school starts, so he's one of the younger kiddos in his class. So that helps. He does have a little bit of immaturity to him, and he's a little bit naive and just off in his own world. Doesn't really know what's going on. Doesn't pay attention, which is kind of working in my benefit because he hasn't learned a lot of things that I don't want him to learn. But I have a seventh grader. I still not. She doesn't come home with these stories, and we're a very open family. My kids talk to me a lot. And then I have a student in ninth grade, and obviously he's not telling me all the things that he's learning at school. I am not stupid. I'm not naive. I've been there, done that. I know he knows a lot more than he lets on. I know more things are said and done than he lets on. Because for one, I have other friends that have ninth graders, and they tell me what their kids have shared. But he's also kind of one of those. He's a pretty good kid. Like my kids are pretty good. Not my class is good. The fifth grader is good. It's just the things that they're learning from each other, and it's just mind-boggling. Sorry, I'm just on this. Like I'm just still just shocked. I'm sorry. I will give it up, guys. Okay. But like I said before, if you have advice, love to hear it. So we have tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday left. And like I said, this week is just test prepping. We're reviewing any kind of comprehension skills or strategies that we can, and just hitting different, parts of speech and informational writing, and anything and all thing reading right now. And so tomorrow I have some just different activities planned. Friday, I think, is when we're going to play our big Jeopardy game. And that has just a lot of questions, and it's pretty engaging. The kids will work in teams. And so that's what we have going on next week. We have testing, and I mean, as a first year teacher, that I'm pretty nervous. Not that I'm not nervous about how the kids will do. I think my kids are going to do great. I think I've prepared them as well as I can for a first year teacher. And I feel like they'll be pretty successful, but just the whole experience, and it just seems so serious. I mean, I have to literally say a script, and I have to do certain things at certain times, and it's just also, I don't know, not me. You know what I mean? And so it's going to be different. It's just going to be different. It's just going to be a different week and a different experience. So I'm just kind of nervous. I don't want to say, like, I have to read from a script, and I'm worried if I say the wrong thing. I mean, it tells you, like, in the script, like, if you say the wrong thing, like, say, I'm sorry I said the wrong thing, and then say it right. But that just makes me nervous. And then the fact that I will have someone else, like, I'm the test administrator, but then we have a test proctor, and they're kind of the other person to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And signing off saying I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So knowing someone's like watching you, I'm like, oh, I don't know. It just makes me nervous. I'm sure it'll be going great. So far, our 3rd and 4th grade teachers, they've said everything's gone great. Their kiddos have seemed like they're doing really well, staying positive and not seeming too anxious. And so I just hope my kids come in next week and they're positive and feeling ready and not stressed, because I don't want them stressed. I mean, they are way more than the score that they can get on any test, and I hope I can make them know that. But I know that everyone puts pressure on these tests, and I do know that there is some value to them, but I don't know. So I'm just not really looking forward to that. And that's the thing as a teacher, or a new teacher. It's new, it's different. But even some teachers, they've been teaching it, for a while, and they're still saying that they're anxious about it. So that's just my life this week. Sorry, I'm just rambling on. Anyways, so if you have any comments, questions, always down below. Please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I just wanted to be able to share what's going on with me. Get feedback from you guys. Kind of collaborate with some other teachers. And, just build a platform that I can share on and maybe help, and where I can get help. So I will try to update Thursday or Friday, but if this is the end of the blog, like I said, please subscribe. Please leave comments. I'd love to hear from you. Watch some of my videos. Check out my old videos, and watch for videos that are posted. I'm going to try to post at least once a week if possible. So thanks, guys. See you later.